Y'all, this is exciting. Hi, I'm your host, Steph. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching wherever you're at. I hope you're having a blessed, beautiful day. As y'all can see today, or by the title, I have a guest with me, very special guest, Darian.
Woo! Glad to be here. Glad to be invited. It's awesome. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So, Darian, tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are. What do you do?
Cool, we'll do. As you can see, it's a lot of laughs, but my name's Darian. Originally from St. Louis, but now we live in Houston, Texas. I'm a worship leader at church, currently working to be a writer and a producer of music, and so currently a student, and just kind of going along the journey with God and just, moving along. So it's been cool.
Thriving and thriving. So, how did you know whenever you're gonna, did you one day just wake up like, I'm gonna sing? Because I've done that and I can't sing. I heard myself and I don't sound that well. So, did you know you could sing?
So I've actually been singing since I was like younger. Like when back home we would be in like children's choirs, youth choirs, and like my mom sang and was a choir director, and then my dad also used to play instruments, and then my grandma wrote songs and sang, and then my aunts sing and everything. So it was like, you're gonna sing basically.
Oh,
And
no
so right. So it was like, all right, we're gonna sing. And like I always felt like I was decent. I don't think I woke up and was like, hey, I'm gonna be like a worship leader in that way. I think I knew I would always do something like in the realm of music because I just loved like the drums and eventually like loved the piano and taught myself how to do those things. And it wasn't until actually I moved here in 2015 where it was like, God was like, you're going to do that. Like I was at Hope and Life conference at Lakewood.
Yeah.
And like I saw just Hillsong Young and Free and how they like worshiped and how they did that. And God was like, you're going to do that. And I was like, I know no one here, so I don't know how that's going to get done. But I guess I heard from you. Maybe I thought it was me, but God took me on a journey, and then I like made it to be a worship leader. It was a long one, but now we're here.
Vibes. So did you ever think you were going to be a rapper?
No. They ask you to do very odd things, including rap. And apparently, I guess they were like, well, you had bars. So I was like, I mean, you like test your writing prowess when it's like, maybe I could write a few bars. And so like we did this thing at retreat, actually, where I had like wrote a rap to Lil Nas X. And then it ended up being like the coolest thing. We got second, by the way.
We won.
Got second.
And our chant was not cheaters. It was so good. It was, it said, well, were the words chant. I don't know what it was, but it was really good. Okay,
See,
they were stomping, they were clapping.
It wasn't good.
Yeah,
whereas
it was
everyone
so
on their team came up to me and was like, "Yo, y'all didn't win, but that was hard." And that's what I need is the respect of the streets. You don't always win the Grammys, aka Beyonce, but the respect of the streets is what matters.
Yeah, we got that too. And then we got first place, so
No, we won overall, so that was what was up.
Retreat gives me what's the word? Yeah, we were done wrong. We thought we won, and we were all cheering. We were all happy, and and then the video kept going, and then it showed us losing. So, and then y'all won. So
to be fair, I clapped for them. Like I was a good sport about it. But then
you're like,
the true winner won, and then it was like, that's what's up. But retreat was vibes. That's actually where I first saw Steph at. So it came around, and now we're here.
Oh yeah, let's talk about how did we meet. Oh, let's talk about first impressions.
Oh geez. Okay.
He's talking about first impressions. So it was wait, do you want to go first?
I can go first.
You can go first.
So first impressions, we were talking about retreat. So I was actually on the leadership for the other team at retreat. And then they were like, oh, there's this couple that came together. And it was like Juan and Steph, who you've seen like on a previous episode of this podcast. And it's like, they were sitting right there. And I was like, oh, they're cute. And like, they're red and everything. And like, and I hadn't like seen them, but like I knew of them. And then later on after the retreat, they joined the like leadership of the young adults that we have at our church. And then I got to kind of like get to know them individually because I was like, oh, they're really cool. And they always like show up together. And so first impression was like, oh, they're just really like sweet and very awesome. So I just kind of kept coming up to them. And it was like, they're a place to like really like land. And I hope that doesn't sound weird, but it's like, they're like homey. They're very like.
I think of a bird.
Like very soft landing, like a branch. You know what I mean? Like. No thorns on it, nothing crazy. You can just land here.
A little nest.
Like good place to land. But no, they were like very solid people. And so it's just really cool to like get
Like
to
a
know
rock.
them and grow with them. So I always thought like, oh, they're like really cool. What was your first impression of me?
That's crazy. I did not know. That's so funny. I feel like everybody's always at church. Like, I know of you, I know your whole story, but I have never even talked to you. So it was my first time hearing that. So that's interesting. I did not know that. So not to get really, really, really deep, but whenever so I did, obviously me and Juan didn't know anybody at retreat. We knew 2 people and made like 3 friends or 4 friends in total. So came back, we were volunteering, and then we ended up going to life group. And Darian on Tuesdays, has, his class to sing, his choir class. And we were in the middle of a life group. I think he came in like 20, 30 minutes later. And I remember I was like having a panic attack that day while I was like sitting in the chair. The whole room was just like in and out the whole time. And then you came in like 30 minutes late and you just hopped in conversation, but you were smiling when you were talking. And then whenever you came, I felt like a lot of peace. And then you were just smiling and cracking jokes. And then my panic attack went away. So yeah, you made my panic attack go away. So thanks.
Oh, that's very sweet. See, the things you don't know, I just kind of just walked in and it was like, oh, I don't know. And then I think the same day it was like, oh, it was nice to see y'all, because it was either y'all first time there or just like within the first few times that I had seen you guys at that group. So it was like, oh, cool, they like made it out. And then they told me what part of town they were in, and then I was like, Jesus, y'all must really love us.
We're over here.
Huge for those who are around the world. It's very huge.
Around the world. Hi, people from China. We're currently in the Woodlands right now, and actually on our drive here, we were like, Juan, which is our executive producer right now, said, would you go in the middle of the woods for $1,000?
The answer really was like, I mean, I need a K. Like, I need the $1,000. But what they try to make you do for change in today's economy, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of nuts. Yeah. And it's getting like colder here in Houston. Yeah. So it's like, would you stand in the woods for 5 minutes? But on the other end, I mean, if you needed, do you just like attempt it? Like, do you ask yourself, like, could I maybe withstand? Because on the other side of it is $1,000. The answer generally is no. Like, there are probably better things you could do. Yeah. But it's like, but could you? I don't know.
I wouldn't do it for $1,000.
Not 1,000?
No. 2,000? What if there's a snake, you know?
What is this?
What if there's like a hobo?
A hobo?
Yeah.
On this side of
like
town?
Like a homeless.
Wow. You can help them out. Preach the gospel for 5 minutes.
Yeah, but what if like, you know, they're crazy? Some of them could be crazy. Well, I think I can pray to God, but Jesus is not going to come down. Stop.
As you can see, we just need more faith on this podcast. This is exciting. We get to know our creator.
I have faith, but you know.
I have faith, but let him touch him. Let him go.
I'd be like, Lord, give me.
So you get a salvation and $1,000, and you're like, nah. A soul for Christ? Nah. Why?
A soul for Christ? My life or talk to? No. Yeah, no. I've seen videos, okay, of the homeless being a little crazy. So
I'll admit it can be like a little rough. I think like to that point, I'd be like praying for them, and then the times where I am able to help, you are able to help. But I would agree, like you can only do what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I pray for them for afar, like Pastor said.
Amen.
Pray for them for afar, and yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do for the people on the outside. Yeah,
that's just not your ministry.
My ministry is to pray from afar and be like, Lord.
She said, pray and lay hands. She was like, lay where? Lay where? There's no distance.
I'll lay
in prayer.
Here.
So there's a windshield right here.
Yeah, I freak out and I freeze. So yeah, that happened to me one time, but I was in the restroom, and then I got cornered into the restroom, and my jaw just locked and it started shaking, and I said nothing. My mom came out.
It's a work in progress, is all it is. It's not a lack of want to. It's just maybe that's just not for me.
Yeah. I need to heal.
Speaking of, to bring up something that we actually did learn. So I remember there was like a message that we had on a Thursday.
Yes.
And it was like, pray for one person a day and like ask like like you could be at a drive-through, or you could be like going through your daily life
Mhm.
and just ask that person who's serving you, like, how can I pray for you?
Mhm.
So I wanted to ask, had you been able to do that at least once, or just
Okay.
what was the result
So
of that one?
I have, and I've done it in many times, but I think, well, I guess this is another point because they were talking about tithing and you should be able to like give in your time. So you tithe, but then you kind of give something on the side, but that's not tithing. So that's like you giving. Wait, but let me answer your question first. If I'm being really, really, really honest, yes and no. I've taken the time to do it, but like in little small little bits of time. So like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, I pray for people more from like afar. There would be some people that'll talk about, never mind. But so I'll pray for them from afar and I'll, take my time to kind of get to know them, kind of like at work or, wherever I'm at. Like there's this lady that she is actually, I was telling Juan about it. There's this lady that she comes, she'll clean in the offices. And so I'll take my time out of my day to like pray for her. And then I'll talk to her and I'll be like, hey, like, how's your day going? Because, nobody ever thinks to talk to a janitor, so, and she reminds me a lot of my mom for some reason. So yeah, I want to get her a Christmas gift. So that's what I was thinking about the other day. Yeah. What about you?
So for me, right after we had that challenge, we actually had, sat on a Wednesday with a couple of us, because I also do the youth services too. And so like a couple members of the band and of those who sang, we went out to eat in an IHOP. And then we were just talking about just what went on in the service. And then we looked at each other and we're like, so remember what we were taught last week? Like, who wants to do it? And so like everyone did like a rock, paper, scissors or a not it to see who was going to like pray for this person. And it landed on me. And I was like, well, first of all, do y'all just not want to talk to your father? Like, no one wants to pray for this person. What's wrong with y'all? But slow progress. Everyone gets there at a certain point. Like we're works in progress. So I was like, okay, I'll pray for her. And so like I had like, they were like, it's on you. So when she came over and bought the check, we were like, yeah, is there any way that we can like pray for you? And she's like, yeah, I'm a student at TSU. Like I just got here to Houston and like I just need prayers for like direction and where I'm supposed to go. And we just prayed, I think together after she left, and then just like continued it. But it was like really cool to see like how that works, because people really, are actually needing prayer.
Okay. So since we're talking about what happened on Thursday, have you been able to, after that service, they were talking about the giving, which actually you weren't here for, but they were talking about giving and how you could be intentional in giving. And they were talking about a tithing or, whatever. I think Kevin had put in the group chat that I don't know what he did, but then he got like a $50 gift card or something. So has anything like that happened to you recently?
So recently, I maybe haven't seen the other side of it, but when I actually received the blessing earlier this month, which was like much needed for me in my journey, but like I had like some cash and I initially was going to use it to like get a haircut, but I was like on the street and there was just like a person out there, and I've always thought of like, what would happen if I was in their position? Like, would I want someone to give to me, or like, how would I want someone to be generous towards me? And so when I'm giving, I'm always like, what's the best thing that I can do for this person that's in front of me? So I had a $20 bill, actually. It was a 20 and then it was like a 1 on the other side of it. And, the little part of you would have maybe given the 1, but I was like,
I'm like, here.
I was like, no, let me give them something that'll really help them. And so I gave him the $20 bill. And and he was like, oh, God bless you. Like, give thanks. And there was actually another instance briefly that like when I was working last year, I was at breakfast at Chick-fil-A and I had cash in my pocket the same. And then there was this person in the back of the restaurant. And like, I was actually reading a devotional while I was in the Chick-fil-A, because, there's the church and then there's Chick-fil-A. Like they work hand in hand.
They're kind of the same.
They're the same, like temples of the Most High. You know what I mean? So the other one just serves like, fried chicken, from the Lord. But I was sitting there having, I was sitting there having a spicy biscuit and doing my devotional, and God's like interrupting me while I'm doing the devotion. He's like, give her the money that's in your pocket. And I was like, all right, but let me finish this like devotion first.
Like, hold on, can I finish my biscuit?
And God's like, nah, I need you to like run over and give her that money. So I'm like, I'm trying to scroll through it, but like it was really like impression on me, like, hey, like you need to finish like and give her the money. And so like I went back towards the restaurant. Like I was like, well, fine, I'm gonna leave, but on my way out, let me give her this money. And once I gave it to her, she actually like stopped and like just started giving thanks to the Lord. And like, Lord, thank you. I just knew you were going to come through for me, and that like you were going to provide for me this morning. And I just like, God bless you, sir. Like literally giving thanks right in the middle of the Chick-fil-A. And like, I kind of had a little bit of a tear in there. And I was like, you know, like, and I would have like missed that if I was like very much like just trying to be there on my own. But a lot of times when we're giving blessings to other people, like it's also for us too. And so I remember that. And so on the other side of giving, there's always like someone who's maybe either praying for that breakthrough, and you get to be the middle of that breakthrough. And then God always finds a way to get it back to you. And I always remember the press down, shaking together, running over. Hearts pressed down, shaking together, running over. Yeah. So I always remember that. Like he will always give it to you more. Yeah. And so it's like what you have is just like tangible, and it could be a tool and a gift. Yeah. And so like I try not to hold on to those things so tightly, and just, you know, let it flow through you.
Okay. Oh, well, I was gonna say something, but now you know that was so good that now my story is gonna be lame.
Nah. Go ahead and give it to us. Give it to us.
Mine was just I know that my coworkers love coffee, so the day before, I think earlier that day, I was like, I texted Juan. I was like, babe, I'm gonna buy coffee for everyone tomorrow. It's Friday. You know, it's been a rough week. So I'm going to go get everybody coffee. And then something happened. I was like, I'm not going to get them coffee anymore. Or should I? Because I overthink and I think people hate me all the time. And so, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. And then we had that service. And I was like, okay, I'm still going to get them the coffee. So I went to go give them the coffee. I bought them all coffee. Well, just one, because only one person wanted coffee. So I just got coffee for myself, decaf. And so then later on, we're going for his little sister's birthday. We're going to Topgolf, and then we end up going to Tiv's. And then the guy at Tiv's ends up giving us Sprinkles cupcakes. Yeah, so good. Nice. Yeah. So then I was like, wow, Lord, you really came through the same day in a few hours, double what I gave. So amen. Lord is good.
Amen. We love the sweets.
Yeah, I'm a really big sweets person. Okay, let's get a little deep. Uh-oh. Or like very deep.
Diving in.
Yeah, we're gonna dive in. Okay, well, this is more advice for somebody. Mm-hmm. Well, what would you say to, I guess, your younger self or somebody that's trying to walk with the Lord, mm-hmm. but they don't know how to, or they're just starting their journey, or they still want to be in the streets, you know, like BC Steph. Like, what would you say to BC Steph? You know, that you see her out in the streets.
BC Steph. First of all, I'm pretty sure she had different hair. So
what happened?
That's what this was like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is BC.
Fake nose piercing, fake tattoos.
No, I think what I would say to anyone who's trying to walk with Christ or still trying to balance through that life, honestly, is just to keep walking. I think I've learned that you won't have the answers right away, and God's not afraid of like your questions. Like, I think even for me, like it was like, there's this moment where, you know, you get born again and you really are reinvigorated with Christ, but then like life happens, and it can sometimes have you question, did God call me? Is this like really something I'm supposed to follow? And then like, should I just go back to what I was doing? And that example is in the Bible too. I mean, when all the disciples, like, and Jesus disappeared, like they all kind of went back to where they went. Like Peter was found fishing. Like, so sometimes there's this temptation to go back to who we were, but God calls us to just keep walking. And so in those walking moments, and when we're just walking through dry seasons, as I would call them, or just dry spells, it's like, remember that he's there with you, and then he's bringing you out for something like a lot better. So for me, it was just like, you got to keep walking it. Like we mentioned earlier, like, oh, when I was called to do music and everything, it was like, that was a moment, but it didn't happen for like another 2 years. So I had to keep like walking through.
You're like, yes, Lord.
Like, we're going to do this. And then imagine.
For me, I can't go back to the streets. I'm engaged now.
I mean, that rock will be a lot on the streets, but you just don't want to go there. You know what I mean? Like,
no, in the streets, I kind of hide it because I'm scared they're going to take my ring.
Wow.
So I just kind of go like this. It's just a band.
It's just a band. It's
like
just
we were in the ghetto the other day, and I was like, I was like, gotta put this away.
And you're risking it all for those $2 tacos.
Yeah, you know, it was actually tacos. It was actually breakfast tacos before church, and the guys were like right next to us, and I was like, Lord, I was like, please help me, because then they were like all up in my face, and I was scared, and I was almost froze up. And then I was like, oh yeah,
They're like, yeah, we
I
only
have
take
Juan
payment
here.
in rings.
Yeah,
like
so I hid
golds.
my ring while I was in there, and the people behind me were like drunk, and I was like, Lord, help me, please.
See, you're supposed to be the intercessor.
I'm like, Lord. I'm like covering myself. I'm like,
so you're just making her so suspicious. You gotta walk in there like you own it. Yeah. Like, can I get two asada and just place the money on the table?
Yeah. Sometimes I'd be walking like I'm bigger or something.
Wow.
Just so like
chest out. Just
yeah. Yeah. So I don't look like so small. So I just walk like that. But like I also walk where I don't have the body of a girl. Like try to like, you know.
Do you also like, order in a deep voice like
yeah?
Can I get two asada beef tacos?
Like in a girl ghetto voice.
And
then
I talk
to Juan.
You're like,
Thank you. What's up, bro?
What's up, dog?
Yeah. I'm like, this is just my dog. This isn't my bro.
It's like, bro, take that bass out your voice when you talk to me, bro. Like, the disrespect.
We get in the car, and he's like, why are you still calling me bro? I was like, oh yeah, I know, I actually do that. That's an actual issue.
Bro is a natural roll off, though. It just depends on the context.
Yeah.
Like, if we're like, I'm really excited and I say bro, but then it's like, if I say bro in the wrong context and we go together, it's like, sometimes it is a bro moment. Like, the person you're with is supposed to still be your friend. Yeah. So it's like, it can't be too much of it. But like, when it's like, oh, you dapping me up, and it's like, nah, you get to lose your comfortable, dog. Like, remember what the dynamic is.
Yeah, I try to do that. Hit it like that. So
we learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, like sometimes. Just keep walking. Like keep honestly,
walking.
It's and keep like praying and being like intentional about your walk is another thing. Like it's one thing to like, oh, I want to walk with Jesus, but then I'm also like still doing some of the same thing. And it's like, well, when you start to change those little bitty things, like God begins to like really show you, oh, this is what I really have for you.
Yeah.
Like you maybe can test this, but like friends that like you had before and you're like, God, I don't know if I'm ever going to get any other friends.
Yeah.
And then, well, once those friends are gone, you now have space in your life. And then like all the better friends come in. Like we just actually had like our Friendsgiving that we all went to yesterday. And it was like one of those reminder moments of like how God's blessed me with like better friends and just wonderful people who love Jesus and love to eat and love to play games. So it was just like very much a thankful moment because it's like, you know, didn't know I would have this, but I always say that like God gives you more than your imagination. So if you just like let him use it, it can turn into a lot more.
So thankful for friends of church friends, and they become your outside friends too. So it's like, wow, I have friends. So in this season, since we're going into Christmas, or by the time y'all are watching this, it's already December. What are you thankful for as like a recap of your year? If you were to talk to yourself at the beginning of the year, what would you tell yourself? Like, what's something that you would give advice to yourself to?
At the beginning of the year.
Like, where were you at the beginning of the year?
At the beginning of the year, I would say I was very hopeful. And I would say I'm still very hopeful. But in that hopefulness, like, look for God's, like, faithfulness through it. And he'll be faithful to you. Like, I think I expected it to look a certain way.
Yeah,
this
same.
year and was hoping like certain things to
I was hoping a lot of things too.
Yeah, you know, like just hoping it would look a certain way. What was that?
My vision board.
My vision board. Look, it's like on the ground. Like I made it.
I took it off. I threw it to the trash, and one was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm thinking none of this is gonna happen."
Wow.
Not like that, but so actually there's a funny story about this vision board. So I had done it. This was like when I was at my peak of like I'm doing real estate, and I was actually super busy at the time with real estate. And so I had on there like top producer and all this stuff, and how I was gonna travel and everything, and I was gonna be going to the gym, and I was gonna be doing my meal preps, which all of that did happen. But in the back of it, I had two pieces. It was like a big piece and there was like a back piece. So in that back piece, in between of those two papers, was an engagement ring for this year.
Really?
Yeah. So then I was like, I don't know, but I didn't want Juan to see it because I was like, I don't want him to think this is me hinting at him like, hey, give me a ring.
What's up right
now?
So
yeah. So I told him later on, I was like, before I threw it away, I was like, I have something to show you. And then I showed him, and it was a ring. Yeah. So Yeah, might have tricked him into that.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, then I didn't get to travel as much as I wanted to because life be,
Life
lifing,
be lifing.
life be lifing a lot. So yeah, it was vibes.
But to that point, like about like, hey, like I made a vision and it kind of didn't go the way that like
Yeah.
I thought it would. Like that's exactly how my year has gone, where it was like I thought I would do this and like you said, travel more. And I did get to do some of those things, but I would say like God's exceeded what I thought the
Yeah.
year would look like, the leadership I was able to step into, the
Yeah.
friends that I was able to just meet, like meeting you guys and just being able to be around like great people. Like I didn't like expect that. Like I think sometimes like we don't script certain things to happen in
Yeah.
our lives, but it's like when it does, it's like, oh, I really needed like that. And it's really
Yeah.
cool that that like happened. Like I'm sometimes really glad that my plans
Didn't work out. Yeah, I'm
And so
happy my
just
plans
kinda
didn't work either.
yeah. So
Yeah.
like, because for example, me, I used to travel a whole lot and still would love to do that. But that would also mean I would spend a lot of time away from home, a lot of time
Yeah.
away from friends. And then
Yeah.
when I'm on
Not
that
okay.
trip, I'm like, oh, I wish I had somebody with me. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, you have to kind of invest in that to have that. So it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like all in good timing. And I was blessed to still go on 2 wonderful trips this year and they're very restful. So
Yeah.
it's like at the beginning of the year, I would have told myself like, hey, just lock in and just trust God with it. Because in the yeses and in the ways that you're going to go this year, like God's going to blow your mind with how good he is and how like, yeah, you had your plans, but God's plans are better.
Yeah. What is something that you're super thankful for this year?
Super thankful for this year. Just thankful, like it's going to sound like a little cliche, but just thankful for like life, basically, like just being able to like get up every day and just be like, hey, we're here. And then on the other side of that is like the people I'm able to just be around. Like it's just truly a blessing to like walk with the folks that I walk with today. It's like, oh, I know it's going to be an exciting day because there are like people around that are just making it cool. Like we have a group chat that's always like really funny and we talk about like really silly things, but then also like some other things. For example,
like Black Air Forces.
The Black Air Forces, which if you listen to this, please send it anywhere on YouTube comments. At Steph's Instagram. Yes or no on the Black Air Forces.
Look, all I'm gonna say is I see somebody with the Black Air Forces, I am running. I'm going the other way. I don't know when, but me and Juan were around. I think we're at the mall, and somebody had the Black Air Forces on, and I kid you not, was like with a black hoodie too. I was like, yeah, no, bro, like I'm gonna go away. Like I'm
Black. I have
with
been,
the black hoodie.
We asked the question at our Thursday service. I asked the question recently on a trip to Las Vegas to someone. And then I actually saw someone in Vegas with them on and sent it to the group chat. And I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, what is with the reimagining of the
Why
Black
are we wearing
Air
these still?
But it's just like silly things like that we do with our friends. And it's like, I think we get caught up in the mundane all the time that like you forget that those little moments where we're just laughing and able to talk about something very silly, but very funny.
Yeah,
and it's
like crushes.
I'm very, very grateful for that.
Did y'all hear that?
What was that?
I said, yeah, like crushes.
Wow. I'm going to skip over that.
Yeah, but we're not going to go over that in today's podcast. But if y'all want that, I can request that in the comments.
Yeah, request that one. And also send the money by Zelle, too. That's a lot.
Said I'm not going to expose myself for free.
Not for free.
You'll have to help me with the budgeting, please. Help.
Yeah. Increase the budget of this show so we can get more tea. So we can afford tea, by the way. That's
if you can afford tea, every minute is how much you charge per minute.
Per minute? Oh,
for
dang.
Tea.
It's probably at least like $500 a minute.
Oh.
Okay. They can do it. They're wonderful, loaded people.
For like 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
It would wait. What did you say?
500.
500. So 250. That's doable for 5 minutes. That'd be a very, very short podcast.
5500, like 500.
Oh, 1,000.
Yeah.
2,000.
Quick math. Quick math. 250. You see how she Wheel of Fortune to my price? The price was not right. Like what?
No. Look, I was just trying to see if I could finesse you. That's what happened there.
Lock in, ladies and gentlemen. She's like 250. You see how she tried to knock me down? Haggler.
I said, "Oh yeah, that's 250. That's doable. I can
you can tell she does sales because she's like, no, we're not selling it to you for that. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, me. I have to tell that to people sometimes. I'm like, yeah, your offer is just
too low.
It's not doing it. You can afford maybe like a used 2016 Corolla with 100,000 miles on it for that budget.
Wow, 100,000. 100,000, 2016. Well, I guess it's how many years is that now? It's at least like
20.
7.
I can't do math right now, apparently.
7.
So.
Oh, see that? See, that's how you get your host. You try to get her to play to her weaknesses.
My executive director said 7.
Okay. We love a good exec director. We love a fact checker. But yes, 7.
Yeah, and they were laughing at me for my 250. But I'm in sales, so always got to keep my brain on. Nobody finessing me out here.
For those who are at our job listening, it's after hours and it's late. So like, don't worry, she'll be top shape next time.
Yeah. And then we had 5 cuts during this whole episode. We started at Capital One Cafe, and they were closing. And like our executive producer said 10 minutes only, but that's not okay. So yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want to share, advice or hope to people, or do you just want someone to have a good life?
So one last thought I would share. One thing I want to say is, one, I love this podcast, and it's just like a really cool space that you've created about just mental health and about just being honest and real. And that's something that has been the forefront of this year for me, is just being honest, not just with myself, but with friends and with what's going on around me. And like, and my advice to everyone would just be like, have open and honest conversations with yourself, with those around you, like about what you want in life, where you're going, and how you can create that space, as well as how do you, I don't want to say invite Jesus into it, because I don't want you to get the idea that like, oh, I have my ideas and then Jesus has his. It's that like, what is God's idea for me, and how do I tap into that? And for me, it's like, be open, be honest, like live in the truth that like I've given you, and like walk in my truth. And he'll show you just like many great and mighty things. And one of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 29:11. Which is, for I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord, they're for good and not to harm you. But then I also love the 13th verse of that, where it says, if you seek wholeheartedly me, you'll find me. And so for me, it's like remembering that like he promises good things, but if I like seek him, I'll find him. And so my advice would be to seek him. And when you find him, he'll find you. And then you'll walk in the best version of you, because you are walking with him.
Amen. I will want to say something about opening up about what is going on in your life.
Okay.
I am a big advocate for that, because through the beginning of the year, I struggled so much mentally. And so why I struggled with it was because anytime that I would talk about it, it would be like panic attack, like right then and there. And it was like super rough. And then I remember one day I was just like, okay, I'm just going to talk about it. And so then I started with Juan, and I told Juan. And then I opened up to my parents, and then I told somebody else. And then it was just another person to another person, another person, another person. Not like I was like sharing with the world, because like it was not like, it wasn't something I was like, hey, so I'm struggling mentally. Yeah, I'm struggling mentally. I'm not mentally stable right now. No, it was more of, telling them like what I was struggling with. And then with doing that came that other people were also going through the same thing, or they knew of somebody that was going through the same thing. So then they could direct me there to a person, and then they were able to help me. And then I was like, oh, like I'm not alone. And then the more that I started opening up, even on the podcast about like even traveling and all those things, I had people coming up to me like, oh my gosh, I've had the same issue, or talking about the therapist or whatever. So then people became okay with, hey, let me open up and let me tell you a little bit about like what's going on with me. So I guess the more that you're open, the more other people will be open with you, and then you'll all be together, and then you'll be able to defeat the thing, and then just kick it down in the face. So
because at the end of the day, you're not by yourself in what we go through. And I think the more that we like destroy that lie that like, hey, you're not the only person that goes through that, or has these struggles, or has these questions, the more like you're just able to help each other and walk in it.
Yeah, because someone said something, I think it was Pastor that was saying, I think we've became okay with the fact that you don't need friends, or you don't need people, that you can do this life alone, because we have things like Amazon or Uber Eats or, whatever. So you don't really have to get out of your house for anything, really. You don't really have to like leave your house or like have people. But then even Jesus had his 3 best friends or amigos, and then his 12 disciples. And I hope that was all right. So I don't know if someone can fact check that. So
EP, was that good? Three Amigos? He said it was good.
He said it was good. But yeah, so yeah, that was it. That's my whole advice. I want to thank you for coming here
Thank you
and
for inviting me.
speaking and being vulnerable and laughing with me and being my friend.
Awesome.
I really appreciate that. And coming to the Woodlands because it's kind of far.
It's all good. I'll come out here anytime. But not stand in the trees. We're not doing that.
Stand in the trees. What about $2,000?
No, like I said, $550 for the tea spill. That's my rate.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the fun part about that podcast and talk about our crushes.
Yay. So see you guys next week.
Squad. Okay, no, but that's it for the podcast. I thank y'all for watching this or listening. I hope you keep having a rest beautiful day or afternoon or nighttime or midnight, wherever you're at in your life or whatever you're doing. And happy holidays and enjoy your Thanksgiving and Christmas. I love y'all. Bye.